Hi there, folks, and welcome to our preview. I'm flying solo today. Unfortunately, we've had various issues bogging down other members of our team. So suffice to say that I'll be doing this alone. I haven't had any input, so it is my personal thoughts on today's meeting for the 8 races on the Vaal Classic track, and I hope I can be of some assistance. I have looked at the card thoroughly and hope that it's a good day for you. Racing today on the Vaal Classic track, Tuesday, the 29th of November. And I think you've seen enough of me, so I'm going to put my camera off and we're going to go through the races today. I'll give you the changes and the updates too, and then we'll take you through the betting as well. So the track condition today on the Vaal Classic track is good. The penetrometer is 23. They've had 29.5 millimeters, so almost 30 millimeters of rain in the last 7 days. And in addition to that, 6 millimeters of irrigation put down the track. But it's good going today on the Vaal Classic track. Bear in mind, too, that if there are any races up the straight, that it does favor the outside draws, and that will affect our assessment of race number 2, because that is the only race up the straight today. Any race over 1,000 meters is run around a turn. So it's just the 1,000-meter race, which is race 2, that I'll go into the actual situation there with regard to the track conditions. But let's go through it. The first race is a maiden plate at 12:35, start of the bipod. It's over 1,200 meters around the turn. The scratching is number 13, Ultima Ictu, who was a reserve runner, and number 3, Memorial Day, races with a Cornell collar fitted. On the stable of Johan Janssen van Vuren are flying high after the victory of Puerto Manzano in the Betway Summer Cup last Saturday. They could well pick up the opening race here with number 8, Fly, Isabella Fly. She's quoted at even money. Obviously ran in a work riders last time out over the minimum trip, steps up and trip, but has a very good draw to go through it. And on my ratings, I work out that she's a 72 plus. Is Fly, Isabella Fly. So she's definitely a 72 or better. If you have a look at some of the other ratings, Memorial Day, funny enough, for number 3 comes in with a very high rating of 75, an official rating of 75. And she could be a danger, though, although she's not drawn too well. But she could well be a danger. She's racing with a Cornell collar. I think she's got her own fair share of problems Memorial Day. But I think that she would obviously at the ratings be a danger. Number 1, Simply Magic, has been rested for 4.5 months. Now her rating is a 65, but remember she is a year older than both Fly, Isabella Fly and Memorial Day. And hence, when you factor all that in, you might find the 3-year-olds are better. So I'm going to say 8, Fly, Isabella Fly for me, ahead of Memorial Day, and number 1, Simply Magic. There is one other that I wanted to include, and that is at a big price, number 11, Percussionist. Stuart Pettigrew had a very good day at Turffontein on Saturday. Now, this is the first run for the new yard, a daughter of Skit Skizzle, racing in my good friend Lionel Leatham's colours. Lionel Leatham, by the way, for those of you that don't know, is Mr. High Sense in South Africa. He is the main High Sense distributor of goods, High Sense being a big brand in the electronics world. And nice to see him back in the ownership ranks, Lionel. And I think Percussion is not the best of draws, but I think this is probably capable of a bit of improvement. So watch out for any betting support on the 11 Percussionist, who has been rested since the end of June, but might be a horse that might just pop up on the day. That's race number 1. Now let's go to the second race, which is the start of the PA. In race 2, there are no changes. By the way, I have done a take a bet with Tab place accumulator for today. Chloe Andrews will give you the QR codes a bit later on. For those, and you'll be able to find that show on our channel. No changes in the second. Now, this is where I said I'd speak to you a little bit about the draws. Now, Mythical Dream, number 1, is the favorite at 11-10. Again, for Johan Janssen van Vuren and Gavin Lorena. Gavin's won twice on this, both times that he sat aboard it, and she is very, very progressive. It's not the biggest of field. There are only 9 runners, but she is drawn at 2, which means she'll have to track across to the better going, I suspect. But Gavin will have a master plan. So she is definitely, for me, a PA banker to follow up, even though she has to give weight all around. Who would be the horse that tries to beat her if she is to fluff her lines? Well, the first one I wanted to talk about was number 2, Showtime, who's drawn at 8, a much better draw, and ran a much better race last time out to Epico, who then came out and won a feature race after that. So Showtime for me would probably be a horse on the improve and coming back to its best form. So I think that might be a danger. Number 4, Dancing Dora, will have her followers. I prefer Showtime to Dancing Dora at the prices. Number 6, Second Breath, is another one at a big price, 16-1, that I think might be a nice horse for these swingers, trifectas, and quartets here. Gabriel Peterson rode a nice placing in the juvenile race on Saturday, and I think this one, 53 kilos, is a runner. And then right down at the bottom, the blinkers go back on Scotta D2. Now, if you notice that her runs with blinkers are pretty good, she is drawn right up on the outside at 9, and Marco van Rensburg has won twice on her in his 9 starts that he's ridden her. So at a huge price, don't leave out Scotta D2 if you're taking quartets and trifectas. I think Mythical Dream should win. It's just the fact of that draw that she has to negate when jumping out the stalls. But I've done her as a PA banker, Mythical Dream, but I don't know if she'll win. I just have a few doubts in my mind about whether she can win or not. I'll be taking trifectas and quartets with those horses that I mentioned to you right now. The third race is off at 13:35. It's a fillies and mares 84 handicap at 1,600 meters, and no changes in the third race of the day, where the odds-on favorite is number 3, Moraine. Again, Johan Janssen van Vuren, this time with stable rider Keegan de Mello from a good draw. Won 2 out of 3 starts and looks to be the business here. I think she's got the beating of Princess Ozma. Certainly, if you look at their last meeting together, there's not much between them. But I do believe Moraine, for me, is a better proposition than Princess Ozma, who is still settling in to the Sean Tarryard, has been there for a few months now. But the horse that I really feel at a huge price here has a big chance is Magical Flight. Now, we've been for this before when we tipped it to win on the 1st of October. It beat Tabby Cat. She comes in with just 54.5 kilos on her back. Now, remember last week, we tipped young Sianda Sasibo quite confidently on Imperial Master, and he delivered the goods. In all fairness to him, he didn't panic. He moved up on the inside of the track, and he won a good race on Imperial Master. And this is in a similar vein in terms of the weight that she's carrying. Moraine has to give her half a kilo, and at 12.5-1, Magical Flight is a proposition. Not saying it'll win, but I'm saying it'll go close to Moraine at the weights that they've set. So 2 and 3 for me are the natural choices here, followed by Princess Ozma. So I think if there is someone to beat Johan Janssen van Vuren, it'll be Sean Tarry, but I don't know whether it's with Princess Ozma. I prefer Magical Flight at a much bigger price. You can see 4 times the price of Princess Ozma in race 3. Race 4 jumps at 2:05. It's a maiden plate over 1,800 meters. Here there is a scratching. Number 11, London Palladium, is out. Number 9, Scabiosa, will race with a compression mask. And there was a form update for number 10, Streets Ahead, who ran 10th, 15 lengths behind Lady Regent last week. Here's the betting. And yeah, there's a couple in here with chances. I boiled it down to 2 or 3. The horse I'm interested in is obviously the Sean Tarry inmate, Billy Spellbound. I had the opportunity of having a few drinks with his owner, Joe Gardner, at the races on Saturday. And I didn't know this horse was running. And I said to her that she had a very nice horse, but we couldn't remember the name. And I was trying to explain the horse to her, the profile of the horse, and said it was a maiden with Sean Tarry. And she couldn't remember the name. Anyway, lo and behold, I opened the book today, and what pops up? Billy Spellbound. We did eventually work out who it was, and she confirmed to me that they think very, very highly of him. He's very well bred, and he is the favorite at 18-10, and he's got blinkers on for the first time, which I think will sharpen him up. So I think Billy Spellbound might be the right one, but the big danger for me, because Billy Spellbound has to give 12 Sparkling Jubilee 3.5 kilos, has to be the filly at the bottom. So I think she comes in with a big, big chance. Muziyeni rides well for Mike de Kock. He rode safe passage to second in the Summer Cup on Saturday, and a good enough last run for me over that mile. May even prefer further. Remember, Zirconium went further, and this is by Oratorio from a 1 draw. So for me, Billy Spellbound and Sparkling Jubilee, wherever I put one, I'll put the other, and I think one of those two will win. For an outsider, maybe include number 7, Countess Danza, in your swingers and trifectas. And main mission number 2 is a Jockey Strike, having the senior rider on for the first time, Raymond Danielson. So those are my choices in the 4th. Race 5 jumps at 20-3, a merit-rated 71 handicap. It's over 2,000 meters. Here you can scratch number 6, Wandering Stars, a non-runner. So we've got 11 runners going to post. I thought this was probably the toughest race of the day, and I gave a few in here with chances. I put ticks next to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them here, including the favorite, number 2, Ignatius, for Johan Janssen van Vuren and Keegan de Mello. Good last run behind African Torrent, and goes even further this time round, and will appreciate that, being a son of Silvano. But I don't think it's cut and dried. I would not be taking 14-10 about Ignatius to win. I'd definitely be thinking of it to put into the trifectas and quartets, but I wouldn't be backing it to win today. That's me personally. I thought all of the following had chances. Number 1, Master of Coin, won a good race course and distance last time out. Muziyeni gets back aboard, but has to shoulder top weight. That is the negative. 3, Romeo's Magic. I like the booking of Piers Stratham. He has ridden him once before. He ran unplaced, but I think he's a big runner today, with Piers Stratham having broken the 5,500 barrier last week. Vengeance Forever, the 4, comes into the race at 7-1. Not the best of draws. Raymond Danielson rides it for the first time, but I think all 58.5, getting a couple of kilos from the more serious rivals. I think he's a runner. Further down, numbers 7 and 8 appeal to the 2 10-1 chances. Chasing Mavericks, I think, is my best value for the race, with Randall Simons riding for Brett Crawford. I think this is a runner, and I think it'll like the 2,000. It's the full brother to Galactic Path, who races out of the Pete Buerter stable in Cape Town, and I see that he got a Durbanville 2,000, so I'm thinking maybe Chasing Mavericks might get the Vaal Classic 2,000. And then Flag Bearer with no weight has to be included too. It's carrying just 52 kilograms and is receiving as much as 8 kilograms from Master of Coin, 7.5 from Ignatius, and from a horse like Romeo's Magic, also 7.5. So Flag Bearer is a definite runner at 10-1. I'm not too confident here, but I'm putting in all of 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, going pretty wide. Race 5 to find the winner there. Race 6 is off at 3:15. It's a 3-year-old merit-rated 90 handicap, and it's over 1,600 meters. In race 6, there are no changes to report. It is as carded. Lovely race this, but Atticus Finch is the progressive type. Now, we'll have a line through the African Torrent form with Ignatius in the previous race. Although Ignatius is going 2,000 meters, Atticus Finch beat Ignatius by about a length when they last met, but Atticus Finch comes down in trip, whereas Ignatius goes up in trip. So Atticus Finch coming back down in trip is a worry for me. The fact that it is 200 meters shorter than it ran last time out. It did win over the course and distance prior to that, beating Central City. But he has to shoulder quite a hefty weight of 59. The horse for me at 8-1, right down at the bottom, is the maiden winner, Future Pearl. I was impressed with her run last time out. It was over the 1,700, and she carries just 40, or rather he carries just 49 kilograms. Atticus Finch has to give Future Pearl 10 kilograms. And that for me is a big ask of Atticus Finch. I rated Future Pearl the value in the race at 8-1. I have respect for Atticus Finch. And those were my two in race number 6. Outside of those, maybe a bit of improvement from Lover's Lane and World's Best for me. I think Atticus Finch holds World's Best. I'm hoping the best for him. He belongs to Diane de Kock. But I think wherever he runs, Just Eminent has to be on the premises, because they finished almost together in their run on the 4th of October. And I prefer Just Eminent actually to World's Best. I think World's Best is too short a price. If you look at that run to Just Eminent has it on the weights there quite considerably. So for me, it's 7 to win it. Future Pearl from 2 Atticus Finch takes us to race 7 at 5-4. A merit rated 70 handicap over the 1500 meter trip. Scratches number 7, Iceman Cometh, who was quoted at 8-1, but is now out of the contest. I'm just going to update my scratchings to see if there's any others. I don't see any others now. So the scratching is that one. This is competitive. This is very, very competitive. There's some nice up-and-coming 3-year-olds. Asia Pambile, the filly, and the Gelding Kalahari Blue, who's as short as 12-10. There's half a kilo in it. The filly has to give the gelding half a kilo, but I think both are very, very progressive. Wherever I put Kalahari Blue in, I'm putting Asia Pambile in. She's a full sister to Trickster, and the 1500 meters, I don't think will be an issue for Asia Pambile. Not convinced about Kalahari Blue. I know I labeled it when it won at Turffontein on the 27th of September. It won a good race. It was quoted at even money. Last time I thought it ran a cracking run behind a Riverdicchio, but I think for me, Asia Pambile is a danger today with Pierce Stratum booking the ride. So for me, 4 and 5 go into everything. Outside of them, Turpitz, I think, is better than his last run where he was drawn badly. He's got a much better draw, and I know they rate this one very highly from the Crawford stable. So 1 Turpitz goes in 2. So for me, 4-5-1, and at a push, maybe the 2 in Kabisi in your permutations there. The value is definitely with Asia Pambile rather than with Kalahari Blue. The 8th and last race runs at 4:30. It's a fillies and mares 69 handicap. It's over 1,450 meters. And no changes in the 8th of the day as I refresh the changes one last time. Changes there are nil. Here, Queen of Smoke is as short as 15-10, 7-2 Gilded Grey, and then 8-1 Strange Magic, Nyali Beach, and Speechmaker, and 10-1 Java House. I think the betting is probably right, but 15-10 about Queen of Smoke. She won a very good race last time out. She was pulling away from them, and that was over the 1200. She goes further, and I think that will be in her favor. Randall Simons for Stuart Pettigrew. Combination does really well. If you look at Randall Simons, 16 out of 22 efforts up till this book was printed have run in the top 4. So Queen of Smoke would be a nice roving banker over here. I think there's a bit of value to be had about Nyali Beach, the daughter of Gimme the Green Light, superbly bred. She comes from a 1 draw. She's had the 1 draw in her last 2 starts, actually, and she's done pretty well. I think she's going to have further improvement, Nyali Beach, and I was surprised, actually, that she was chalked up 8-1, because I don't think she's an 8-1 chance, certainly not when she's receiving 2 kilos from Queen of Smoke, is at 15-10. So Nyali Beach, for me, is definitely the value here ahead of Queen of Smoke. Gilded Grey, I gave a chance to, very consistent from a 3 draw. And then Java House hasn't won in 894 days. I don't say she's got a winning chance, but certainly she's got another place chance over here, I would have thought. So those are my choices there. Nyali Beach, Queen of Smoke, Gilded Grey, and Java House. And that takes care of our preview today. Now, those are the horses I fancy, and that's the way the Clock in the Gallop views this. We'll have that PA for you a bit later on. There is more racing locally at the Vaal on Thursday. I hope to be joined by one of our team members to do that preview, but there is racing at Scottsville tomorrow, Wednesday, And once again, the Ghost Rider will be back to do some selections for that. I know he was in excellent form yesterday in the place accumulator. If you followed the Ghost Rider PA on the show yesterday, you would have got back, I think you would have more than doubled your money yesterday, actually, or maybe just about doubled your money. But I know that he caught that place accumulator 32 times on our show yesterday, and it paid just over 33 rand. So you got back just over 1,000 for your spend. That's it. That's where we are leaving it for today. Have a great day's racing on the classic track of the Vaal. Thanks for being with Cloth in the Gallop, and we'll see you again tomorrow for racing from Scotland.